Welcome back. We're here at the GSL Team League with IM against NS Hostio right now. It's tied 1-1. And they picked a pretty good choice, I think, for who to take on Lucira. Tassadar.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you need someone that can really snipe a great Zerg. They've chosen a good map dual site. I'm just really stoked to see what type of build he's going to use here, because I think there's a reason behind this.
Well, and NS Hostio really doesn't lose Team League, apparently. So, I mean, whoever they're picking, you know, based on previous results, has been a good choice. So I have to assume this one is a good one as well.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to see, though, what kind of builds these guys are going to try to execute with Lucira against Tassadar. The game is loading. And I had a hiccup for a second. Excuse me. The game is loading. So let's do this here with NS Hostio against IM here at the GSL Team League. Over here in the bottom left.
IM Lucira.
Well, I wasn't ready for that.
They're rushing you today, too.
We do, of course, do these voice intros based up on the Korean commentators. We're going to introduce them, and that must be Lucira. That fan also
Might
wiggling
be.
around.
Could be Nesty, too, though.
Now you can tell by the part in the hair. It's got to be Lucira. In the upper right, we have from the Starcraft 1 single player.
NS Hostio Tassadar.
Tassadar's back. He's no longer in the single player. He's now a GSL player.
He's been transformed. He's been born again after he died into a young Korean man.
Yes.
All right. So we already have a probe getting into Lucira's base. Looks like he is going to go for a fast expansion himself. Forge fast expand. And, you know, Forge Fast Expand this map, there's a lot of things Zerg can do against it. You know, it's going to be open-ended on one end, so do you want to go Roach or Baneling and try to force, like, a quadrillion cannons and or catch them off guard? Do you want to just go for the 3 hatchery style? That's something you can do as well. Throws down that pylon.
This is what I always do. I'm always dropping the pylon immediately.
Yeah, Lucira was very smart, though. He saw the probe following him and dropped the pool as the probe got out of vision.
Yeah.
So he forced the pylon. The pylon did not need to be made.
Yeah.
And that just
slows a general rule,
slightly our
at least for me, I'm always playing the pylon. Even if I go back and check for the spawning pool, at least I have a little bit more control over the pace of the game.
Oh, definitely. I agree with it being a good move for sure. But, you know, both players just juking and jiving, doing what they do. Gaining little edges and giving up little edges here and there. Now there's a Nexus and a Forge going down for Tassadar. Down goes the hatch. And it looks like Lucira is going to go for the 3 hatchery, most likely here. He's not getting gas yet, so we should be seeing another hatch pretty quickly here. And, you know, that's a really good choice for Lucira. Some players prefer to make a few roaches, whether it's a roach all-in or, like, 3 roaches, to really force a ton of cannons. Some people, you know, want to go Banelings like July Zerg does. But I like Lucira's choice here. Because, you know, I think Sage is probably the scariest Protoss on the team, and if he just beats Sage, then hey, man, he should be feeling pretty good against Tassadar.
Yeah, he's already got that PVZ experience, so he doesn't even have to shift gears here. Or ZVP experience, rather. And as you can see, this build is just perfectly timed out. Cannon literally finishes the second the Zerg gets there.
That's how you want to do it, for sure. Well, Lucira is actually getting gas after his first expansion. So it looks like he's not going to quite do the build that we see a lot of, but it looks like just gas added into a very quick third, which can work as well, of course. He is sending the drone over to...
Is he going to take the gold? No, he's actually...
He might, but no.
He looked like he was going past it for a second.
The thing is, if you take the gold... And you see he's taking that closer third. If you take the gold and they go Void Ray, that's going to be a little bit harder to hold.
Oh, yeah, you're DED. Yeah, if they do that.
Can be pretty tough. So, it's interesting to me that he got the gas so quickly. He got just enough gas to get speed out, it looks like. He has 100 gas, or is that? Yep, it is for speed. So speed does start. And that's going to allow him to stop any of the pressures like we saw before with that Zealot and really, really punish them if that's something that, that Tassadar wants to do.
Now we have the Cybernetics score on the way. Zergling chasing the probe. The probe does see the expansion hatchery.
Great scouting. He really does know what's going on right now. Never did see the gas, so he's not going to be sure if speed's coming or not. Sometimes Zergs go really, really late on that gas.
Yeah, just make a ton of drones. But getting that early link speed could be good because once that link speed is up, you can kill any scouting probe so easily.
Yeah, that's very true. And at the same time, we do have Tassadar making a third Zealot. He's using a lot of Chrono Boost on that gateway. And that means he's definitely going to go for some sort of pressure here. And oh my god, we have a Twilight Council coming up, but no +1 attack. So I'm wondering what he's going to actually do with this. Whether this is going to be a DT build or
could be
possibly Blink.
You know, he might go for DTs straight, rather Zealots straight into Dark Templars, you know, just because these 3 Zealots that are coming out here are going to be surprisingly quick. Now, luckily for Lucira, when the Zealots get there, Zergling speed's going to be done, so he will be able to take them out, but if he follows us up with DTs, it could actually throw the Zerg off on his rhythm.
That's what I'm thinking it's going to be, yeah, and the Dark Templar Shrine goes up. All right, so Zealots starting to harass now, Tasteless. And a lot of lings are being made. He will not lose this hatchery, don't worry.
He might try to go behind the minerals here for angling.
Yeah.
As you can see here, that's really nice.
But it looks like Lucira has made most likely enough lings here. And these Zealots will be going down. Goodbye, Zealots. You're going down. Down they go, as I said.
You were truly a prophet, Artosis.
Yeah. I can see the future.
Okay, so he's getting more gateways now. And obviously that Zealot attack failed, guys, but the question is he going to be ready for the next step?
Exactly.
Because he's going to think, okay, I held that off, that weird, wonky Zealot rush. Now I'm going to make drones and just get more ahead. But in fact, there's a big timing attack coming up here.
Well, Lucira right now, he is making his Spore Crawlers. He just finished up his Evolution Chamber, and yeah, he's making Spore Crawlers at each and every location. So Tassadar is actually going to get way behind right now. We have a good number of Zerglings coming out. +1 is on the way for them. We have 50 drones to 47 probes, but that's spread over 3 bases, so the mining efficiency of Lucira is better at the moment. And with these DTs coming out, they should not actually do anything. And not doing anything with 3 Dark Templars against a Zerg player with 3 bases and a lot of drones, it's still droning. This is a bad news for Tassadar. He's going to be well behind from here.
And unfortunately, Lucira's even positioned the Spore Crawler perfectly, so it's not even like the 3 Dark Templars could rush up and just kill it off.
And now those Dark Templars are just going to play map control for a little bit. Lucira just starting his lair, so he can't really attack anytime soon, which that's good for Tassadar. He's going to have to make that into an advantage for himself somehow. He's getting Blink. His +1 is almost done. It looks like he's just going to go Mass Stalker from here, most likely. Those Protosses, Tastes, they love their Stalkers.
They do. It's a good unit. We see now Tassadar's trying to catch up on sentries now because he didn't really get to make any of those, and those are pretty important as you go into the late game here. I guess we call this exactly the mid game, but you need to have sentries. Ultimately, at some point in time, as Protoss, they're just too good.
Yeah, he does have a few out there, and of course that helps out a lot with playing Stalkers. Sometimes you're going to want to use a few force fields here and there. Guardian Shield, of course, can be very useful against roaches. But he is just making a lot of Stalkers, man, and that's such the rage with Korean top Protoss is to just make a lot of Stalkers.
You can
it's like they all have Stalker-home syndrome.
Oh, that was the worst joke I've ever heard, Artosis.
Thanks, man. I tried.
Sometimes when you just get in a bad position where you're like, well, this might not develop well into the late game, what you can do is do some kind of timing attack. For instance, if he gets in here with the Stalkers and just snipes the Spore Crawler, well then he can use the DTs.
Very true. We do have Burrow on the way. A lot of Zerglings are being produced.
One Archon here tanking the majority of the damage.
And some good force fields going up. Oh, he loses the Guardian Shield. Nice snipe there by Lucira. And he's got to start microing a little bit more here. Tassadar is looking like he might be in a little bit of trouble as these force fields do wear off. More units being warped in, though. He does have that +1 attack, +2.
Don't forget, Blink is an option as well. Oh my god, a drop in the main. Or they ran in there. We didn't get a shot of it, but this is going to be really bad right now for a Tassadar, even though he's just not going to have his main. Now Gateway's unpowered.
Indeed, and look at this. Some good micro coming in from Tassadar. His Stalkers are all getting a little bit beaten up, but very good blinks. And, oh man, too many Zerglings coming in. This looks like it is going to be stopped.
That's going to be GG.
Yeah, he's going to have to GG from there, Tasteless.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to take a third base.
He's
with
got
his
26 probes right now against 70 drones of
Lucira. Oh my God.
And GG. Lucira crushing some base.
Well, Lucira is really dominating. It seems like I am definitely taking this this round a little bit more seriously.
The Tassadar put in, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree or agree with it, but the fact that he tried to just do a forward fast expand into 3-Zalt pressure into DTs, that's risky, man. If you're actually rushing to DT, that can be a risky scenario. After an expand, it really puts you behind if you don't do any damage with it.
Well, you know, the other problem with it as well is they basically tried to do the same thing twice. Against Lucira, they had a Protoss do a unique timing attack that was supposed to win the game. And then in the second game, they had a Protoss do a unique timing attack that was supposed to end the game. It wasn't like he was saying, I'm going to invest in the late game, or I'm going to do a crazy all-in, or cheese, or anything like that. So I don't know if that was the best. Lucira already experienced an almost identical type of strategy once with the same raise.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, Lucira obviously knew his timings on everything. He saw 3 Zalts come out, and here's one little tip that a lot of people won't think about. When you see 3 Zalts made really quickly with a forge fast expansion, because you have to afford cannons, you have to afford building a lot of probes, you have to afford trading minerals for gas. So when you see a lot of minerals used on Zalts that quickly, because Zalts aren't actually that useful, that means he's banking gas.
He's doing
teching.
something.
So it's either Void Rays or Dark Templars, and Spores counter both those.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let's see if they're going to pick now.
Is that Sculpt?
I believe you are correct. I'm not sure.
I believe it is, but don't hold me to it, Tasteless.
I won't.
I know you always like to hold me to my guess.
Did you call me Tasteless? Tasteless. And here is our player. It's Jockey. Excuse us.
Oops.
Oopsies.
All right. Well, I mean, you have to take care of Lucira some way. Jack G is a player that they've, put in as one of their best. He's one of the ones that we see in that opening screen. I cannot wait to see how well he actually does do.
Well, at least they're not using another one of their Protosses. You need to save your Protosses in a situation like this.
Yeah, I would definitely... well, you know what? To be honest, at this point, I don't even know if they're going to use another Protoss, because this is a hard spot, man. Their Protosses aren't working out so far against Lucira. Of course, they do have some other great Protosses, but I feel like they use their 2 current best. Guy came here from the military.
As you can see, I feel really safe here.
Yeah. He blends in really well.
I didn't even see him. Well, he's got camo on.
Yeah. Well, okay, so this is their 3rd player coming out, which means that they're going to have one more after this. And I feel like, it's Sculpt and Seal are good choices.
I would just say Seal, because when they used him, he beat Bomber.
I wonder how good.
So high.
I wonder how good Seal's ZVP is, though, because his ZVT obviously is godly.
Yeah, because there's so many Terrans right now. At the top of the Korean ladder, it's a bit Terran heavy.
Oh yes, very much so.
A bit is an understatement.
The Masters League is a bit Terran heavy over here. But I don't know, man. I guess a lot of it will depend on that. How good he is, because Sculpt is very good at killing Protosses, and they still have Young Juan Seed over there.
A lot of this is also going to depend on whether or not Chucky actually takes out Lucira, too.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Well, the countdown has begun.
It's time.
TVZ, Xel'Naga Fortress, a map that Terrans really like against Zerg, so he's chosen a good map for it. Can he take Lucira out?
We're going to find out momentarily as the game is now loading. Zerg versus Terran, IM versus NS Hoshio. Let's do this.